Hello, my name is Kirk Phillips. I'm a CPA and I've been in the blockchain and cryptocurrency space for the past 6 years. Today I'm here to talk to you about the top 3 reasons why your business or organization has to be blockchain and cryptocurrency ready for 2019. So there are 3 points we want to talk about: inside out, disintermediation, and you can't cram. So, talking about the first one, inside out. If your organization is working on a blockchain project now, or various blockchain projects, or perhaps is involved in a consortium, for example, like the R3 consortium blockchain, which is a very wide industry type of blockchain where you have businesses from all different types of industries that are involved. That is one example where you could be involved, and you may have your own blockchain think tank and things like that where you are involved in blockchain projects. So you've got various different ways that you can be involved, and these things are happening today. And even take an industry specific, for example, which is the institutes, has Risk Stream, which is an insurance consortium for the insurance industry, as well as B3I, which is another consortium-based project for the insurance industry. And so you've got a lot of the incumbents are members of those projects. However, at the same time, what you have is you have a lot of stealth startups in the background who are developing really radical, disruptive models that could potentially, disrupt the incumbents that have been in the insurance industry, for example, for a long time. So if you take Ether Risk is one of those, for example, and they have a decentralized insurance protocol. And this could potentially disrupt all the incumbents who have really been, the big players in the space for the last 100 years. So you could just actually substitute the word insurance for industry, and you could have decentralized, industry protocol, for example, and you just substitute whatever your industry is, for example, like that. Now, time's going to tell whether or not those types of disruptive models actually do really transform the industry, and incumbents become obsolete, and so on and so forth. We'll find out about that. I think it's going to take a very long time for it to develop. So meanwhile, the incumbents may make a lot of headway on the consortium models, and it's not to say that you can't have lots of different models coexist at the same time. But the point is to really watch out for those projects that are stealth in the background that maybe are not well funded right now, because see, incumbents have lots of capital and lots of resources, so they can make a lot of different things happen, and they can sustain competitors that come up for quite a while because they have so many resources available to them. So that's something to watch out for there. Now, if we move on to point number 2, we want to talk about disintermediation. So you have to ask yourself, if you are in a value chain of a particular industry, are you a broker or a middleman is probably one of the best examples, because everybody talks about so-called cutting out the middleman. Well, and certainly in the blockchain space, you're going to have the middleman is going to be cut off without a doubt, especially if they're not adding value. So that really what it comes down to is, are you adding value in your particular role or your position as a stakeholder in your industry's value chain? And if the answer is no, you will absolutely be disrupted and be disintermediated and perhaps become obsolete. And those stakeholders who are providing value, well, it might be rearranged and look at the way they deliver that value may look differently. However, they're going to continue to deliver that. So really you're going to have, if you look at the entire value chain, those areas where there's non-value adds, those are going to be eliminated. And it's simply going to be crunched down and consolidated into really having an alignment of incentives for all stakeholders. That's what blockchain is all about, an alignment of incentives for stakeholders. Whereas a lot of times in today's models and the old models, we have some incentive models are certainly not incentivized for the customer necessarily, and things like that. So, or perhaps the employees. So really, it's about an imbalance of incentives is what's going to happen. So if we just want to talk about also where you could have another scenario, let's take where you have a particular industry, let's say in the advisory industry, and a good example there is for accounting and auditing, where you deal with lots of different clients and lots of different industries. So you have a great cross-sectional experience of the different different models that are out there and different types of businesses. So in that case, say that you are not getting any inquiries, and I've heard these things before, you don't get any inquiries from your clients that are talking about blockchain. So none of your clients are implementing blockchain, and let's say none of them are asking about, how can they get involved with it and things like that. So nobody's beating down the door talking about blockchain, and how they can extract the value proposition from that because everybody's hearing about it. So you say, okay, well, we're just going to be reactive. We have, our clients aren't talking anything about it, so why should we, uh, enter the fold and perhaps create a particular business unit, around blockchain services and that kind of thing, because nobody's asking for it. Well, that's going to be a major mistake. So that really leads into point number 3, which is you cannot cram. So if you take the reactive approach and you just say, well, we're not hearing about it, what's going to happen is you're going to wake up one day and realize that all of a sudden it was all happening around you the whole time, but you just couldn't see it. You were blind to it. So if that's the case, you cannot wake up and decide you want to cram and all of a sudden, hey, let's go ahead and start our blockchain, cryptocurrency, distributed ledger technology practice now and make up for the past year where we heard about it and we thought about taking action, but we didn't take action, and now we want to race to try to catch up to our competitors because, the next, 5 competitors in our, segment, say middle market segment or whatever that happens to be, they've all got that much lead time on it. So it's just like in the universities or in colleges where you talk about cramming for exams, you really can't cram. Now, maybe in the short term you're successful because you get the passing grade, but we know in the long run you didn't retain the information, you really didn't understand it, so you really didn't get the value out of it. So the same thing really applies here with blockchain. It's very complex, you have to synthesize it, it's very experiential, and you need to have a group of people who are learning this over a period of time. You need to experiment. You're going to have failures. You're going to have small fails. You're going to have bigger failures. Those are ultimately going to lead to little successes and even bigger successes over time. Which reminds me of Stephen Covey's The Law of the Farm, which says that you can't cram on the farm, where you have to till the soil, you have to sow the seeds, you have to water the seeds, you have to tend to the crops, you have to pull the weeds, you have to harvest the crops. It all has to be done in the right order. You can't cheat. That's what the law of the farm means, is you can't cheat, you can't cram, you have to do everything in the right order. So the same thing applies to blockchain. You really have to work with it over a period of time, and you really can't make up for lost time. So it's important to really start right away, right now. Learning and educating is the most important thing. And then go practice and experiment with it, whether it's just buying Bitcoin and Ethereum and things like that, which are public blockchains. That's an easy way to participate. Where you don't have to get into necessarily implementing something more complex for your business. So again, the review: inside out, disintermediation, and also not cramming. Again, inside out, what's going to happen is there are stealth projects in the background that are going to create disruptive models, decentralized industry protocol models that are completely different than the way things that are done now. That's the inside out, upside down model. Disintermediation: if you're not providing any value, then you are going to be obsoleted and you are going to be eliminated. So you better pay attention and shift to a more value added role from the one that you have now. And of course, once again, you can't cram. And so that reminds me what Benjamin Franklin always said, which is that an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the 3 reasons why your company should be blockchain and cryptocurrency ready in 2019, and we look forward to sharing more. Thank you.